Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain, where I actually just finished my coffee. So we are going to have to go this episode without for the moment, but we will be okay, I think, crossing fingers. But we have had a pretty awesome day. Could go get some more. It's still probably early enough in the afternoon that I could drink some more, and I could just call it lunch probably, but maybe I'll just go make me some like pasta or something instead. We are actually reading The Last Bookstore on Earth by Lily Braun-Arnold. And honestly, I just finished this book this morning, thought it was pretty good. I did not realize until I kind of started looking at my to be recordeds that I had 2 episodes for today to record that both were about bookstores. One which was vaguely about a bookstore, and this one which was about the last bookstore on Earth. And honestly, both wildly different in their content and context, but still, I don't think I've had 2 books in the same recording day have the same sort of kind of subject matter in their title. I thought that was kind of funny. Now, this book releases on January 7th of 2025, and I actually had this month quite a few books that were due on January 7th. It was interesting because I actually struggled to find some books towards the end of January, or towards the end of December, and kind of had to work around some of the books that I already had for earlier in the month to flush out at the end of December. Now, it seemed as though all the books that I had kind of expected to be released towards the end of December all decided to be released somewhere around January 7th. And I can honestly say I think I had close to 7 books that were due right around January 7th. So sometime this weekend or this coming week, I will be actually writing about 15 different reviews in Goodreads and NetGalley, as well as probably putting some over into Amazon as well, because I'm trying to be better. Now, I almost always, if I'm writing a review in NetGalley, I'm almost always also writing a Goodread review as well. I am trying to be better at also writing a review on Amazon and or Barnes & Noble. I just know that some of these books are either indie published or smaller print published and or Kindle published, and I want those reviews to exist, so that way there's a little bit more I guess there's a little bit more traction for them to have some acknowledgement of their work. And so kudos to them for writing these works, and I hope that they get the recognition that they deserve. But on to The Last Bookstore on Earth by Lily Braun-Arnold. Now, this book is not very long. I want to say that on my Kindle or my NetGalley app, it was only 244 pages, somewhere around in there. But I see here on Goodreads, it says it's 320 pages in the hardcover. Not sure why there's such a discrepancy, but I thought it was a pretty good read. It went very quickly, and I want to say I read it in about 2 days, approximately. Again, it does publish on January 7th of 2025, and it is considered young adult, queer, dystopia, science fiction, LGBT, and lesbian. Now let's dive into this summary. The world is about to end again. Ever since the first storm wreaked havoc on civilization as we know it, 17-year-old Liz Flannery has been holed up in an abandoned bookstore in suburban New Jersey, where she used to work, trading books for supplies with the few remaining survivors. It's the one place that feels safe for her, until she learns that another earth-shattering storm is coming and everything changes. Enter Maeve, a prickly and potentially dangerous out-of-towner who breaks into the bookstore looking for shelter one night. Though the 2 girls are immediately at odds, Maeve has what Liz needs, the skills to repair the dilapidated store before the next climate disaster strikes, and Liz reluctantly agrees to let her stay. As the girls grow closer and undeniably feelings spring up between them, they realize they face greater threats than the impending storm. And when Maeve's secrets and Liz's inner demons come back to haunt them both, they find themselves fighting for their lives as their world crumbles around them. So I will say that Liz's character is very interesting, and I do wonder if she may be on the spectrum in a way, just simply because of some of her mannerisms remind me of a person who is very particular about, like, there's one particular point where she says during her senior year she eats nothing but soup because soup feels safe. And there's one particular point where she does certain things because those things are safe for her or comfortable for her. And I acknowledge that that is sometimes it is kind of a trait that of someone who may be on the spectrum. So I do wonder if that is also another reason why she feels as though she cannot leave this bookstore, is that this is a safe space for her that she feels as though she is truly tied to, even though the world is I don't know, the world has kind of already ended at one point. She has watched her sister, her twin sister, melt in this almost acid rain that she can't go back home. I mean, she physically could because it's only a 10-minute walk from where this bookstore is. And at one point in the book, she does walk back home and actually retrieve a few supplies with Maeve. She doesn't stay at her home. This bookstore is a safer space for her. But she also kind of has these points where she kind of talks about having like 73 copies of The Giver where she hasn't been able to get rid of them yet because somebody ordered 300 copies instead of 30 because they misordered them. And it's just so funny because those are things she worries about rather than, fixing up this dilapidated bookstore. There's a huge hole in the ceiling where this acid rain, should it return, could come pouring in. Or some of the windows are broken out and she hasn't really done anything to try to repair that either. But she's far more concerned with ensuring people get their mail or things of that nature. So it's just very interesting. I really love Liz's character. She's very well written in so many different ways. And so when Maeve comes in, Maeve is actually a really good, I don't even want to say she's an opposite to Liz, but Maeve is much more, I guess, logical in her thinking with regards to what needs to be done for this bookstore to perhaps even survive, whether it's even a possibility. So Maeve is much more resourceful when it comes to those sorts of things. Now, they both have secrets that they're kind of not telling each other. And I mean, that's clearly something that would happen after the end has come. And we don't really know what has led up to this particular point of the end of the world. We do get some kind of snapshots from Liz's perspective of, maybe like not a year before, but like a couple months before. And it seems like everything happened in like August, where like the world really went to heck in a handbasket, so to speak. And so we kind of start like maybe in February where they're having a family dinner and they're talking about, her and her parents and her sister are sitting around the table talking about going to college. And her mom's like, well, yeah, you should, just seems very adamant about, going to college and all this sort of stuff. And and her dad doesn't seem overly eager about it. He kind of has this mindset of like, well, if things are changing, then maybe we should plan something different. So, I mean, that sounds smart, right? It's like if climate change is coming, like maybe making a change sounds really smart. However, it doesn't sound like the family is really on board with this sort of thing. And the book is much more of a, like, there's some romance elements because of Liz and Maeve, but there's also some very emotional elements with regards to kind of this level of survival. Liz has really had to survive on her own for a long period of time. And even before, she's also felt very much like a loner in a lot of different respects, because I think she just thinks in different ways than other people, which has helped kind of facilitated her feeling like she's an outsider from other people. So I think her dad was a very good support for her, and we kind of see that in some of those conversations. But I don't know if she ever fully understood that. But we do see in some of those conversations that he was trying to be much more supportive than the mother figure. And I'm still not fully certain as to why this bookstore became like her safe haven, other than it just became the place that she latched onto as her kind of security blanket, so to speak. And the biggest issue comes along when she, like, I guess when Maeve really shows up. Is everything seems fine up until that point. People come and go pretty frequently. But then Maeve shows up, and you would think that having somebody kind of there would be a good thing. And I guess in a way it is, but it also kind of triggers other things kind of snowballing in different directions. Because Maeve realizes that Liz's bookstore has a generator. Now, Liz has not realized that this bookstore has a generator. And it's full. And so they get this generator working, but Liz gets really hurt in this generator. Like, she injures her dominant arm pretty badly. Well, then they go kind of on a supply run, and Maeve takes her to this little river. Well, then they encounter this other group of people that Maeve has been kind of outcast from, and Maeve didn't think she was going to run into them. But then Liz says something about this generator being there. So now this group also knows that this generator exists, as well as the potential for running water at their place, at this bookstore. So now this group of individuals also knows about these assets of the bookstore. And so there's all these different things that are happening, and it just becomes a culmination of all these different things and just trying to survive with the fact that this building is also crumbling and another storm is coming. So it is a very big kind of culmination of survival. And the part of the kind of the tagline says it's a perfect for the fans of Station 11 and The Last of Us. I'm not 100% certain that I fully buy into that, because I loved Station 11, but I do feel Station 11 was far more contemplative in a lot of different ways. Station 11 is one of my favorite dystopian books and kind of post-apocalyptic books, but I just feel like there's so much humanity like that resonates within like Station 11. The Last of Us is a fantastic video game series, so if you've never played it, I personally love watching people play it. I don't think I'm very good at playing video games, but I love watching people play video games. So shout out to Hollow, because he's one of my favorite people to watch. But The Last of Us is a fantastic series. Also, I think it was on, I don't know which streaming service it was on, like Amazon or HBO, one of the two, or one of them. But Last of Us did get a series as well, which was really well done, and Pedro Pascal was on there, and he did a phenomenal job of being Joel. So, good job. But I don't think this falls in that same line of like the level of emotion. I do think it's very good though, and I maybe it comes from the characters of this particular book being younger, and why they're so kind of aloof and kind of oblivious to some of the things and the resources that are around them. Because I'm sitting here reading this book, and I'm I mean, I've never experienced an apocalypse, nor am I living in a post-apocalyptic world. Hopefully never, but yet. Um, and I still think they were like ignoring so many potential items of like that could be utilized as resources, but that's just me thinking. I don't know. I don't know. You would have to read it to see for yourself, like what I'm talking about and whether I would be correct or not. But I do feel like they are overlooking so many things that could be resources for not only shoring up their building and for helping this building to survive a little bit more, but also just survival in general if they do actually want to try to stay in this bookshop. Is a bookshop the best place to stay? No, probably not. It's not an essential need in a post-apocalyptic world, but I think it's a really clever thing, and I love the way that they utilize I guess I love the way that they utilize it in the post-apocalyptic world, kind of as this point of trade, as this almost like this mail system point where you can leave something for somebody coming through in the future. I don't know how they would know to stop by and pick something up, but I mean, they seem to, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I would love to know your thoughts and if this is a book that you might pick up in the future. Again, I thought it was really cleverly done. I do like post-apocalyptic books, apocalyptic books, and kind of seeing how these authors imagine humanity surviving. I would hope that people would have more humanity than what I see in some of the characters in this particular book. Now, again, some of these characters are young, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and maybe they are just incredibly ruthless and cutthroat. I don't know, but I would hope that we would be a little more inclusive rather than cutthroat, but I don't know what the future would hold. I really don't. But until next time, I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll like and subscribe and come back again in the future, and I'll see you on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.